tell? Was that as good a game as he's played?
Yeah, look, it was a day that was suited to backs. I think if you look at both sides, I reckon the majority of the best players would probably have played in the back half. And I think Tyler read the ball really well. He marked the ball well. He was solid in the contest against some quality opposition. But the conditions suited defending more so than attacking. 8 goals to 5 or something, or 8 goals to 6 for the day. It was hard to score, and that helped. But Meadows had 30 odd possessions. Tyler had 30 odd possessions. I think Drew Road had 25. Manning spent a fair bit of time back, and he found a fair bit of it as well. But really pleased with Tyler's progress, and we think in time he's going to turn into an extremely good player. And he's still a young kid, and unfortunately he got a lot of press last year that put a bit of pressure on him. But he's coming along nicely.
And Meadows, who played so much of his footy before this year as a forward, is just relishing his role down back. Yeah,
it was funny. We always probably had him as a defender, but our back six has been really settled over a number of years. Pushing straight forward, Rasmussen not playing meant that there's a spot open up. Tedesco, missed a couple of games now, so we put him forward to play the Cody Manning style forward role, where he was more there for pressuring and harassing the opposition. But we did that because he was a good defender first. So it doesn't surprise us that his best spot's back, and he's been exceptionally good the last 2 or 3 weeks.
The great bonus of those guys back is that Strikey and Cody Manning can spend time forward, and both of them showed again today that they can kick goals when it matters, and they really stand up, and they're pretty handy when they're forward.
Yeah, I think they kicked 4 of our 8 goals, and it was a tough day for forwards. Both sides rolled numbers back. The quality of forward 50 entries was poor, but that's what Andrew Strike can do. He can just finish off. And Cody's, a couple of his pressure acts that created goals for us and himself were fantastic. And he just continues to play a great brand of footy, and we love him here. And hopefully other people appreciate him for what he can do.
Your 3rd win in a row, do you feel that he's starting to build a bit of momentum? You've got to buy in the next round, but are you about where you hope to be placed after your first block?
Oh, look, 8 games at the start of the season. We were really confident at the start of the year that we'd be around the money, and 4 and 4. If you had asked me in January, I would have been disappointed. Had asked me 3 weeks ago when we were 1 and 4, I would have taken it because we've played Swans towards the bottom or on the bottom of the ladder. We were still fairly hampered by personnel at that time. We've been able to get a couple of guys back. Claremont are a real funny side. They're around the money each week, but they just can't seem to get wins. And then Peel have played some really good footy. So 3 weeks ago, it was looking pretty grim to get to the bye at 4 and 4. Given our start, I'm happy. Gives us a little bit of time to recharge the batteries. It's been a bit of a slog. So travelled out to Coolum last week, played in wet, slippery conditions today. I think the players will appreciate the bye, and then we'll hit the ground running and hopefully put up a good showing against Subiaco after our bye.
Since Chris Coonan's been out, it's been a big task for Sever to step up, and he's had some good weeks and had some down weeks, but today was a pretty good day for him up against Zach Clark and Jack Hanneth.
Yeah, we didn't play him a couple of weeks against Swans, and that was purely a tactical ploy. Probably deserved to play. Last week against Mitch Andrews up at Coolum, it was a really good battle. Mitch might have got him on points last week, and then today, whether the conditions and the game style suited, but to go up against probably for 90% of the time 2, big ruckmen. They're not as if they're little fellas. They're genuinely tall, bulky, Hanneth, and I thought he did a really good job. They probably get the points in the end, but he was more than serviceable, and what's been good, especially since Nelly's been back, is we've been able to control a little bit more around the stoppages, and I think we won the clearance count. So Seb plays a part in that, and he's getting some really good positions around the ground. He's starting to clunk a few, and we just need to get him right in handing the ball off to to some of our better ball users around. But no, we've been really happy with his last couple of weeks.
Just the fact that he's playing, because that game against Swan Districts, the reserves, I think right at the end of the game he got carried off on a stretcher, had to go to hospital. There were some issues with his neck maybe, but he did well to sort of get up for the Corn game and again today. So
yeah, look, it was, you know, it's always a bit of a worry when someone goes down. And in the end, it was just a bit of whiplash. So we were really lucky. It was an accidental thing, and you know. But great to see him play. And he had 12 months off, didn't play footy at all, and you know, so he's still learning, even though you know he's not a young man. I think he's 25 or so. So you know, but he's learning more and more every week, and we're happy with his progress.
Good time for a buy now to freshen up the guys that have been playing all year, and also to try to get maybe Chris Coonan and Joe Morrow and Lane Rasmussen and maybe even Matt Gordon back after the break. Yeah,
look, Gordy's still a while away, but I would think that Rasmussen and Morrow are definites to be selected to play, whether they play seniors or not. I would think if you look at our conditioning of guys like Nelson and Manning when they miss large parts of the season, to be able to slot back in, you probably wouldn't know. Those two guys have got an advantage. They've been running because they've been hand injuries. Chris Curtin only got off his crutches last week or a couple of days ago, so I would think that he's highly doubtful to be available against Subiaco. But until we get to next week's training and see how his conditioning is, the good thing about Chris is he doesn't carry any weight and he's a naturally good runner, so we think he'll come pretty quickly. But there's a couple of other guys, you know, Corey Chalmers has got through a game today, you know, Chris Shannon in the reserves, Keegan not in the reserves, so in a lot of the first 6 or 7 weeks we spent how we're going to get a team together. Now we're actually going to be able to put a little bit of pressure on selection and probably, you know, just be able to pick sides that are well balanced against the opposition, and something we weren't able to do for most of the first 4 or 5 weeks.
How did you rate Dean Munns' game today after wins against, I think, Adam Faulkner from Swans and then Jai Bolton last week in Corn? So on Rory O'Brien did quite a good job.
Yeah, look, Rory still managed to get 18 or 20, somewhere around that, and kick a goal from an unlikely source for Rory O'Brien, a high tackle.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, it was the first one I've ever seen from Rory. Look, and I'm not going to complain because obviously the free kick count will be probably in our favour. But
32-14.
But the thing is, and people don't give us any credit for that, I actually think that's a coaching tool.
Yep.
I think I coach our blokes to be fair and hunt the ball and tackle well, and you know, it's not a coincidence that over the last 2 or 3 years we've been able to get on the right side of most umpiring free kicks. Maybe it's the way we move the ball, maybe it's the way we tackle. So look, Dean did a good job on. He didn't nullify him completely, but in a game like today, that suited Rory O'Brien down to the T. But I was probably surprised when I looked at the stats late in the game that he had as much as he did. I didn't feel as though he got on top of Dean at any stage, but the numbers would probably suggest with 18 or 19, whatever they were, that he's done a reasonable job, O'Brien, to find it. But
his third game of league footy.
Yeah, oh, look, Munsey's doing a great job, and he does it all with a smile on his face, and that's what we love.